Imagine making $160 million, only to owe $21 million in taxes. Sounds crazy, right? Well, that's exactly what Dallas Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott might be facing in 2024. Today, we're diving into the wild world of NFL contracts, massive paydays, and the taxman who always gets his cut. You think your taxes are complicated? Just wait until you hear this. Hey there, Cowboys Nation. Welcome to Dallas Cowboys Fan, your ultimate destination for all things America's team. Whether you bleed blue and silver or are just starting to catch Cowboys fever, this is the place. If you are a die-hard fan, please make sure to subscribe for more latest news and updates of your favorite team. We're diving into a fascinating story that combines two of America's favorite topics, football and taxes. Yeah, I know, taxes aren't exactly thrilling, but trust me, this one's a doozy. We're talking about Dallas Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott and a potential $21 million tax bill he could be facing in 2024. Buckle up, because we're about to break down how one of the NFL's highest-paid players might end up writing a check to Uncle Sam that's bigger than most of us will see in a lifetime. Now, before we get into the nitty-gritty, let's set the stage. Dak Prescott isn't just any quarterback. He's the face of the Dallas Cowboys, one of the most valuable sports franchises in the world. In 2021, Prescott signed a massive 4-year, $160 million contract extension, making him one of the highest-paid players in the NFL. But with great contracts come great tax responsibilities, and that's where our story gets interesting. So, why is Prescott potentially looking at a $21 million tax bill in 2024? Well, it all comes down to the structure of his contract and some recent changes in tax law. When Prescott signed his extension, it included a $66 million signing bonus. Now, typically, signing bonuses are paid out immediately, but in Prescott's case, it was deferred. He received $20 million in 2021, and the remaining $46 million is set to hit his bank account in 2024. Here's where things get complicated. The NFL and the NFL Players Association have been in negotiations about a new collective bargaining agreement, and one of the potential changes on the table is how signing bonuses are taxed. Currently, players can spread the tax burden of their signing bonuses over the life of their contract. But if the proposed changes go through, players might have to pay taxes on their entire signing bonus in the year they receive it. For Prescott, this could mean paying taxes on that $46 million all at once in 2024, instead of spreading it out over several years. And we're not talking about a small chunk of change here. At the highest federal tax rate of 37% plus Texas state taxes, Prescott could be looking at a tax bill of around $21 million just on that signing bonus alone. Now, you might be thinking, but wait, Texas doesn't have state income tax. And you'd be right. However, NFL players are subject to what's called jock tax, which means they have to pay taxes in every state they play in during the season. So even though Prescott's home games in Texas are tax-free, he still ends up paying state taxes for away games in places like California, New York, and New Jersey, which have some of the highest tax rates in the country. But let's take a step back for a moment and consider the bigger picture. This potential tax hit for Prescott isn't just about one player or one team. It's a reflection of the complex relationship between professional sports, player contracts, and the ever-changing landscape of tax law. The NFL, like any major business, is constantly adapting to new regulations and economic realities, and player contracts are becoming increasingly sophisticated as a result. Think about it this way: when you're negotiating a contract worth hundreds of millions of dollars, every detail matters. Teams and players aren't just thinking about base salaries and performance bonuses anymore. They're considering things like signing bonus structures, deferred payments, and yes, potential tax implications. It's a chess game, where the pieces are dollar signs and the board is the U.S. tax code. And it's not just the players and teams who are invested in these outcomes. The NFL as a whole has a vested interest in how these contracts are structured and taxed. After all, the league's salary cap is based on a percentage of total revenue, so how player compensation is handled can have ripple effects throughout the entire NFL ecosystem. But let's bring it back to Prescott for a moment. A $21 million tax bill would be a significant hit for anyone, even a highly paid NFL quarterback. It's worth noting, though, that this is still a potential scenario. The negotiations between the NFL and the NFLPA are ongoing, and it's possible that any changes to how signing bonuses are taxed could be phased in gradually or even grandfathered in for existing contracts. Moreover, Prescott and his financial advisors have likely been preparing for various scenarios. High net worth individuals, like NFL stars, often have complex financial strategies in place to manage their taxes and investments. It's entirely possible that Prescott has been setting aside money in anticipation of a large tax bill, or that he has other sources of income or investments that could help offset the impact. Still, this situation highlights the importance of financial planning and tax strategy, even for those of us who aren't making NFL quarterback money. It's a reminder that sometimes it's not just about how much you make, but how you structure your income and manage your tax obligations. Now, you might be wondering how this compares to other high-paid athletes. While Prescott's potential tax bill is eye-popping, he's far from alone in facing complex tax situations. NBA stars, MLB players, and other NFL quarterbacks all deal with similar issues. The difference often comes down to the specific structure of their contracts and the tax laws in the states where they play most of their games. For example, a player for the New York Yankees or the Los Angeles Lakers might face higher overall tax rates due to the state income taxes in New York and California. On the flip side, players for teams in Florida or Texas, where there's no state income tax, might have a slight advantage when it comes to their take-home pay. But here's something to consider. While we often focus on the huge numbers in these contracts, it's important to remember that professional athletes have relatively short careers compared to most professions. The average NFL career lasts just over 3 years, and even star quarterbacks like Prescott might only have a decade or so at the top of their game. That means they need to make the most of their peak earning years and plan for a long future after their playing days are over. This is where the importance of financial advisors and smart contract negotiations comes into play. Teams and players aren't just thinking about the next season or even the next few years. They're planning for decades down the line, considering things like long-term investments, retirement planning, and yes, tax strategy. And hey, if this video has you thinking about your own taxes, don't worry. Unless you're pulling in NFL quarterback money, your tax situation is probably a lot simpler. But it never hurts to stay informed and plan ahead, whether you're making millions on the field or working a 9 to 5.